For most of us, the purchase of a PC is a substantial investment, but after the money is spent and the PC is in our home or office, few users ever take the time to actually maintain their PC, unless of course something goes wrong. Routine maintenance is an important part of PC ownership and can go a long way toward keeping your computer's hardware and software error-free. Proper routine maintenance can also help to avoid costly visits to your local repair shop. I'm Steve Bigelow, and I'll be your host for today's show, Basic PC Maintenance. Now, in today's program, I'll be giving you a practical, step-by-step procedure that you can use right now to protect and maintain your expensive personal computer investment. You'll learn to clean the PC thoroughly, check the cables both inside and out, check and clean your drives and other peripherals, inspect the devices inside of your system, and perform some basic drive maintenance procedures. Now, before we get started, you'll need to gather up a few basic tools and some cleaning supplies. Now, most of these tools and materials you can pick up at your local computer store, and a few other cleaning items you can get at your local supermarket. So here they are. Gather some basic household cleaner and some lint-free paper towels. You'll need a diskette cleaning kit, a CD-ROM cleaning disc, a mouse cleaning kit, a can of ordinary compressed air, a tape head cleaning kit if your system uses a tape drive, and it wouldn't hurt to have a basic tool kit on hand for disassembly and reassembly. Why don't you take a few minutes now and gather up all those cleaning materials and a few basic tools, and when we come back in the next section, we'll get started with external cleaning. Our first set of procedures today is going to talk about external cleaning. Now, this may not sound like a glamorous process, but it's certainly one of the most important. You'd be surprised how quickly dust and pet hair can accumulate in and around your PC. Ordinarily, you should need to perform external cleaning maybe 3 or 4 times a year, but maybe more frequently if you work in dusty or dirty environments. However, there are just a few cautions to keep in mind. First, avoid the use of ordinary household vacuum cleaners. That rush of air going through those plastic nozzles generates a lot of static electricity, and this static electricity can accidentally damage the delicate electronics inside a PC. If you do wish to use a vacuum, use one of these battery-operated vacuums that's specifically designed for use with a PC. Also, you should never use harsh or industrial-grade cleaners around your PC. Industrial cleaners often use harsh chemicals like acetone or butane, and these chemicals can mar or even melt the plastic finish that's used on your PC. Whenever you're cleaning, use water only, or use a highly diluted ammonia solution such as this glass cleaner. Be sure to turn off your PC's power and unplug the AC line cord from its outlet. Let's start by cleaning the outer case. Spray your cleaner onto your paper towel. Never ever spray cleaner directly onto or into any part of your PC. Now take your moistened towel and go ahead and give the case and front panel a good once over. This will help clean off any dust or stains that might be there. While you're cleaning the front panel, be very careful to avoid changing any of the volume controls that are on your CD or CDR drives. When you've finished cleaning the front panel, use compressed air to blow out your front intake vent. When you're cleaning around the back panel, be very careful not to dislodge any of the cables that are back there, or accidentally change your sound card's master volume control. For this shot, we removed the cables so that you can clearly see each of the connectors. Your multimedia speakers offer just a countless number of ridges and openings that are perfect for accumulating dust and debris. So we're going to clean your multimedia speakers next. Use your vacuum cleaner to gently vacuum out the speaker's openings. If you don't have a vacuum cleaner handy, you can always use your can of compressed air to simply blow out the speaker openings. Use your paper towel and household cleaner to remove any dirt or stains from the speaker housing. While you're cleaning the speaker, be very careful not to change any of the speaker's onboard controls. Now it's time to take care of our monitor. You should clean the vents, the outer case, and the CRT itself. Cool air is drawn into the monitor from these lower vents underneath, and air that's warmed inside of the monitor escapes through these upper vents here. Now if your vents become clogged by dust or debris, it can interfere with the natural airflow through your monitor. This can eventually cause the monitor to run hot, and over time, this can actually shorten your monitor's working life. It's for this same reason that you're supposed to keep the rear of your monitor free of papers or any other objects that can block the flow of air through the monitor. So it's important to keep those vents clean at all times. Use your vacuum cleaner to clean out any accumulations of dust or dirt from the monitor's upper and lower vents. Of course, if you don't have a vacuum cleaner handy, you can always use your can of compressed air to blow out the vents. Next, use a clean paper towel with a little glass cleaning solution to clean the monitor's plastic case. Remember that there's active circuitry directly under the monitor's top vents, so never spray cleaner directly onto the monitor housings. Spray your cleaner onto the paper towel first, and then use your paper towel to clean the outer housing completely. Now discard your old paper towel and use a new paper towel with some fresh cleaning solution, and go ahead and clean the CRT face completely. Remember to make sure that the CRT face is completely dry before you try to use the monitor again. You've been doing great. Take a few minutes now and finish up the rest of your external cleaning, and we'll be back in the next part of the program to take care of your keyboard and your mouse. Your cleaning process is almost complete, but we still need to take care of your keyboard and your mouse. We deal with these items separately because they can be a little bit trickier to clean properly. But let's get started now with your keyboard. Keyboards are open, so dust and debris readily settle between the keys. This foreign matter can eventually jam keys or even cause repeated keystrokes. Keep your keyboard dusted using your vacuum cleaner and vacuum up any dust between the keys. Of course, if you don't have a vacuum cleaner available, you can always use your can of compressed air to blow out dust from between each of the keys. Just be careful because compressed air will kick up a lot of dust that's inside of the keyboard. After you've cleaned between the keys, use a fresh paper towel and mild household cleaner to wipe down the keyboard housing and each keycap. When you're done, the keyboard should look as good as new. If you find that some of your keys are sticky or unresponsive, bend a large paper clip into this U shape. We'll use this as a keycap removal tool. Insert the tabs at the end of your paper clip just under the edges of the keycap, then pull up evenly. The keycap should pop right off, but don't force it. Now you can remove any foreign matter that's jamming the key, or spray some good quality electrical contact cleaner into the switch mechanism. Afterward, you can replace the keycap simply by pressing it back into place over the key switch. To keep you from mixing up the keys, remove only one keycap at a time. The two keys you should never remove are the space bar and the enter keys. These keys are held in place by metal brackets that can be very difficult to reattach once the keycap is removed. Your mouse is also susceptible to the effects of dust and debris that are carried up into it from the mouse ball. Eventually, once enough debris builds up on the rollers, you'll find that your mouse won't move properly. It'll hesitate or stall when you try to slide it around its mouse pad. But fortunately, a mouse is a pretty easy device to clean. Start your mouse maintenance with a thorough cleaning. Use a fresh paper towel and household cleaner to carefully wipe down the entire mouse. When you're finished, make sure that the mouse is completely dry. Moisten a lint-free cloth or paper towel with isopropyl alcohol or light glass cleaner. Rotate the ball retaining ring clockwise, then remove the retaining ring and mouse ball. Now wipe down the retaining ring and scrub the mouse ball thoroughly. Afterward, dry the mouse ball and set it aside along with the retaining ring. The mouse has three rollers, an X roller, a Y roller, and a pressure roller to keep the ball in place. Moisten a cleaning swab with isopropyl alcohol or light glass cleaner. Carefully clean off any accumulations of gunk from the mouse's three rollers. This may take a little effort and patience, especially for older mice where the rollers may be caked with debris. Once the rollers are clean, allow some time for the rollers to dry completely before reassembling the mouse. Finally, use your can of compressed air to blow out any remaining dust or debris inside the mouse. The last step is to reinstall the mouse ball and retaining ring. Slide the retaining ring counterclockwise to clip it back into place. Well, this finishes up all of your external cleaning. Take a few minutes now to finish up your mouse and your keyboard, and when we come back in the next section, we'll get started with some external checks of the system. So now that your system has been completely cleaned, it's time for us to perform a few basic checks of your external system connections. This also gives us an opportunity to perform some basic drive cleaning. Now normally you should perform your external checks 3, maybe 4 times a year, but you may want to do this more frequently in dirty or dusty environments. There are many external connectors used to attach the computer to its peripheral devices. Examine each cable carefully and verify that each is securely attached. Check the AC power cables for your PC and monitor. Check the keyboard cable, mouse cable, USB cables, serial port cables, and printer port cable. Check the external SCSI cable, video cable, 3D accelerator pass-through cable, joystick cable, speaker cable, microphone cable, and telephone line to the modem. Your own PC may have other external cables as well, so be certain to check everything. Also check the AC power packs for any other peripheral devices or external drives. If any cables are secured with screws, see that each screw is seated completely. Unwanted accumulations of dust, pet hair, and other debris can also interfere with your floppy drive and your CD-ROM, so we're going to clean these 2 drives next. Dust can cause serious problems reading or writing to a floppy disk, so take your compressed air and blow out the inside of your floppy drive. Now we'll clean the floppy drive's read-write heads. Put a few drops of solution on the cleaning disk, then run the disk in the floppy drive for 15 to 30 seconds. Run the disk by selecting the A drive from Windows Explorer. Don't worry if Explorer returns an error, it just can't read the cleaning disk. When the disk stops, remove it from the drive and mark it to indicate another use. Your cleaning disk should be discarded after 10 or 20 uses. Most CD-ROM drives use a motorized tray to load or unload CDs. Try opening and closing the tray several times. Listen for grinding or skipping sounds that could suggest a problem with the drive mechanics. If the drive tray is dirty like this one, clean it with light glass cleaner on a paper towel. It may take a little effort to get the tray clean again, but be careful not to damage the tray. The optical reader in your CD-ROM can also be fouled by dust and debris. This can cause problems reading the CD. Use a cleaning disc like this one to brush off the optical reader. You can see a close-up of the cleaning brush here. Insert the cleaning CD into the drive. In many cases, the software on the disk will start automatically and begin the cleaning cycle. Allow the disk to run for 15 to 30 seconds. Then eject the disc and store it back in its jewel case for future use. If you have a tape drive, you can clean its read-write heads now. A clean tape drive will prevent problems when backing up or restoring files from tape. Dip a clean lint-free swab into the tape head cleaning solution. Wipe off the excess solution from the swab. Use the swab to carefully scrub the drive's read-write heads. When you're finished, discard the swab and allow the cleaner to dry completely before using the drive again. Now we'll check the sound system. Make sure the speaker power is on and see that all your speaker connections are secure. Check the speaker's controls and keep the volume set fairly low. This reduces hum and other distortion that might occur from the speakers. Most modern sound cards use a software mixer application to adjust sound levels from the various sources inside your PC. You can adjust the sound card's master volume here and tweak other volume levels such as the CD audio or microphone volume. Remember to save any changes before exiting the mixer application. The final step is to check for discoloration in the monitor image. Magnetic sources, such as unshielded speakers, can cause the image to discolor along the edges or corners of the CRT. Monitors use special degaussing coils to demagnetize the CRT. These coils work automatically each time the monitor is turned on. If you need to degauss the CRT manually, use the manual degaussing switch on the monitor. You could also just turn the monitor off, wait several minutes, and then turn the monitor back on again. You've been making great progress so far, but take a few minutes now to finish up your external cable checks and clean your drives. When we come back, we're going to pull the top cover off our PC and have a look inside. Welcome back to the program. Every 6 months or so, it's a good idea to open up your PC and perform some basic internal checks. And with these checks, we'll verify that all of your internal devices and cables are attached securely, and it also gives us a chance to see that all of your cooling devices are working properly. Whenever you work inside a PC, be sure to ground yourself with a good quality anti-static wrist strap such as this one. This will bleed off static charges from your body and prevent accidental damage to the sensitive electronics in your system. Remove the screws holding your outer cover in place and set those screws aside in a safe place. Now gently remove the outer cover and set it aside also. Fans are vital for keeping the PC cool, so make sure that all your ventilation fans are running. Here's a close-up view of a typical PC power supply exhaust fan. The CPU produces the most heat inside your system, so it usually has a fan of its own. Make sure that the CPU fan is securely attached to the CPU and see that the fan is running. Here's a close-up view of a Pentium 2 cooling fan. Turn off and unplug the PC. Now use your vacuum to remove dust and debris from the fan blades and vent holes. If you don't have a vacuum handy, you can always use compressed air to clean the fans. Dust is a serious matter. You can see all the dust that accumulated in the power supply when compressed air is blown into the power supply vents. Now is a good time to clean out the PC, so take your compressed air and blow out the inside of your chassis. Now, chances are that your PC has one or more expansion boards installed in it. These expansion boards, such as modems, video boards, or network adapters, are plugged into expansion slots on the motherboard, such as those shown here. Loose expansion cards can cause system crashes and serious startup problems, so take some time to inspect each of your expansion cards and see that each one is inserted evenly and completely into their slots. Each card is secured to the chassis with a single screw. Make sure that each screw is in place and snugged down properly. You'll also notice that there's a large number of signal cables inside the PC. You'll need to check each cable in the system. Every cable should be attached securely, especially the wide ribbon cables that can easily be tugged off. Take a few minutes to carefully inspect each power and signal cable. This requires a good eye and a little patience, but as a minimum, you should look for the following: motherboard power cables, drive power cables, floppy drive signal cable, hard drive signal cables, CD-ROM or DVD cables, the CD audio cable, and the SCSI signal cable. Next, inspect the group of wires between the case and the motherboard. In most systems, you'll find the following: a speaker cable, a power light cable, an on-off switch cable, a hard drive activity light, a turbo switch and light, and a key lock switch. You can see the case wiring connectors very clearly in this motherboard close-up. PCs offer system memory in the form of modules such as this SIM. SIMs clip into special SIM sockets such as these. Loose SIMs can cause erratic system crashes and serious startup problems, so check each SIM to see that they're installed properly and clipped securely into place. Now check the installation of your CPU. The Pentium II was held in place with a retention mechanism such as the one shown here. This mechanism is fastened to pins mounted on the motherboard. You can see a fastening pin more clearly in this close-up. For socket 7 CPUs, such as a Pentium or Pentium MMX, make sure that the CPU is completely inserted into its socket. See that the heatsink fan is securely attached, and verify that the zero insertion force lever is closed and locked. Before you button up the system again, Check the drive mounting screws. Each drive should be mounted with 4 screws, 2 on one side and 2 on the other. Fewer screws may allow excessive vibration and cause premature drive failure. Check that each mounting screw is in place, and make sure each screw is snugged down, but be careful not to over-tighten the screws. Finish up by carefully replacing the outer cover and sliding it into position. Then reinstall all of the cover screws and snug them down. I'll bet it's been a long time since you've taken a look inside your system, but go ahead and take a few minutes now to finish up your internal checks and get that outer cover reattached. And we'll be back in the next part of the program with hard drive maintenance. Welcome back for the last part of our program. Now that your system's been thoroughly cleaned and checked inside and out, it's time for us to perform some basic drive maintenance. Now, not only will this maintenance optimize your hard drive, but it'll also extend its working life. You should plan on performing drive maintenance probably once a month or so. If you don't already have a boot disk in the event of a hard drive crash, now's the time to make one. Windows 95 can create a startup disk for you automatically. Start by labeling a blank disk and inserting it into your floppy drive. Click on Start, Settings, and Control Panel. Double-click on the Add Remove Programs icon. Select the Startup Disk tab. Then click on Create Disk. The utility will remind you to insert a diskette. Acknowledge the disk, and the creation process will start. The preparation process will take several minutes and will copy a number of DOS files to the diskette. You can check to see exactly which files were copied by starting Windows Explorer and then selecting the diskette. When the startup disk is finished, test it by restarting the computer. You should wind up at the A prompt. Now remove the diskette and store it in a safe place. Then restart back to Windows. Now select Start, Programs, Accessories, System Tools, and Scan Disk. Select the drive to be tested with Scan Disk and start the test cycle. Scan Disk will take several minutes to check the disk's file system and will report any errors that it finds. You can then choose how you'd like to deal with each particular problem. You should repeat Scan Disk on every drive in your system. Our last step will be to defragment your hard drive. Now, file fragmentation occurs when the various clusters that make up a file become scattered around a disk. This is a perfectly normal but unwanted side effect of our file system. So what we're going to do is use the defrag utility to reorganize those clusters so that each of the clusters related to a particular file are together. This not only speeds up access, but it reduces the amount of work that a drive has to do in order to find a file. Select Start, Programs, Accessories, System Tools, and Disk Defragmenter. Select the drive to be tested and start the defragment cycle. Defrag will systematically relocate each file on the drive. Now, this process can take quite a bit of time in order to sort out all the files, especially on large drives that are very full. You should defragment each drive in the system. Well, that does it for today's program. You've learned how to clean your PC inside and out. You've tightened all your cables and connectors. You've checked your expansion boards, memory, and CPU, and you've even managed to perform some basic drive maintenance. Now, by performing this maintenance process regularly, you'll keep your PC running in tip-top condition, and more importantly, you'll keep it out of those expensive repair shops. So until next time, I'm Steve Bigelow.